commemorates the story where Jesus is ascending into heaven. The Mosque of Ascension, or the Church of Ascension. It was a church and then became converted into a mosque. Just so everyone knows, we're at the Dominus Flevit Church. This is where the Lord wept. That's literally the translation, Dominus Flevit, the Lord wept. In this area, there are graves that literally go back to the Canaanite period, 1600 BC. What we're looking at right here are specifically burial practices that go back to the second century BC. Up until the days of Jesus. These are coquine. After a year, you come back, you take all the bones out, and you stick them in these little boxes. These boxes are called ossuaries. They're long enough to accommodate every bone in the body. The longest bone in our body is the femur. So they're just about as long as a femur bone. Imagine when you see the Golden Dome, imagine that being the Second Temple. The Second Temple, by the way, was magnificent. It was built of white marble with gold outline. It is said by the historian Josephus, before it was destroyed by the Romans, it literally looked like the sun on earth. So Jesus is entering, he gets to this point right about here, and he collapses to his knees, and he starts to weep. And he's crying because he sees the future of the temple. He sees the future of Israel. He sees the Romans destroying the temple. He sees the Romans exiling and slaughtering all of the Jews here. Guys, we're now at the Church of Gethsemane. Gethsemane comes from Gat Shemen. It's a corruption of Hebrew. Gat Shemen. Olive press or olive industry. Again, this 2,000 years ago, the Mount of Olives is covered with olive trees just like this, as well as presses. What does the church commemorate? It commemorates a couple things. It commemorates Jesus coming here. He's having the Last Supper on the Mount of Olives, Mount Zion. He's coming from Mount Zion over to here, and he's praying with the disciples so that perhaps the cup of suffering will pass him by. He's in immense agony. He knows his fate. He knows his future, and he's literally crying blood. This site also commemorates where Jesus is betrayed by Judas. Judas enters the garden here and kisses Jesus on the cheek. Antonio Berluzzi, he built this church, again, he wanted to capture the essence of the suffering that Jesus is going through. Notice the windows are purple amber. When you go in, it's going to take a few seconds for your eyes to adjust. It's very dark, very sorrowful.